Are you saying that we can keep a track of that and we can reclaim some
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
losses?
Yes, ma'am. BP will reimburse you.
All right.
We're going to talk about that.
And I have to tell you that a lot of the details on how we will do that claim process won't start coming out until this week. The unified command was the emphasis earlier this week. It was up and running yesterday, moving into the Mobile Convention Center and up and running today. Today, this weekend, the emphasis is trying to keep it off of shore, off of land and of these estuaries. And Secretary Sol and Department of Emergency Management asked me, they're working on it all this weekend, but as we get into the early part of next week, they'll be talking about how the claims process will work and how we document this.
Mm-hmm. Could you discuss the effects of that? I mean, the red tide and all of that, that's a burning sensation.
Well, red tide this is not red tide, this is gonna be like a black tide, but it will be similar in that regard, that you'll smell it, you'll feel the burning of the eyes, those types of things. The aerosol effect of the wind blowing across those waves and vaporizing that oil's sheen, not the slick. The slick is the thicker stuff. And let me tell you about the difference between sheen and slick. They take this dispersant, it's kind of like Dawn dishwashing detergent. It's the best way I can describe it. You put it in your dirty dishes and you know how it kind of just releases everything. It's not that, but it works like that. They put it on the oil, and fresh oil, it will disperse it very quickly and it becomes a sheen. And more often than not, it will evaporate, it'll vaporize, it'll become an aerosol. But there still will be tar balls coming with it. Stale oil, things that have been out there, maybe they haven't been able to get to it with a dispersant, or the dispersant didn't work the way it was planned. It gets really thick, it's floating in maybe the top 18 inches of the water. The dispersant won't work on it anymore because all the lighter particles have gone out of it and it's coagulating. And it gets stirred up and all this stuff, and that's what makes the heavy tar balls. They sink, they roll up on the beaches. So that's the difference. I don't know if it's good, bad, or otherwise. I think I can put up with the smell and burning my eyes better than I can tar balls, but it sounds like we're going to get both. The Department of Health, Environmental Health, later today, tomorrow, will be putting out frequently asked questions about health, who to contact. Daniel's got some numbers who to contact now, but we'll be posting those up on our websites. I post it on my Facebook just as quick as we get it out for people to see.
We have sent emails to everybody on our email list of the information we've already got.
Good.
So they know these numbers.
Great. Yes, sir.
Do you have any information on why the safety devices were not functioning?
Only speculation, and you know, I even had somebody say to me a couple of days ago, this is eco-terrorism, something is happening with eco, and it's like, you know, it's been 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks now, and I believe that somebody would be taking credit for it if it was eco-terrorism, and we haven't heard that at all. It does seem like as this stuff starts to dribble out, and what I read in the Wall Street Journal last night, and you can get it online, this article, it sounds like that this is not uncommon. This just happens to be a very deep well in very deep water. And one of the other things that's interesting, in every country in the world except the United States, they are required to have a remote shutoff. And we don't. But they could have been sitting in Houston and when this thing happened and shut it off. There's some speculation that they're at 18,000 feet. They may have hit a cavern. And the cable that's down there to pull all that rigging material back up is there. And perhaps when the cutoff came through, it hit a joint, or it hit the cable and was not able to cut it in two. The pipe apparently has bent over and it's like a kinked garden hose right now, or we'd be getting more oil. Frankly, you're probably a little bit like I am. Every time poor Admiral Landry, I mean, I probably shouldn't say poor because I think she's a pretty bright lady, but every morning she'd get out and say, this is what we know, and go on, and then every afternoon she'd come out and says, like, everything we know is wrong, and here's what we know now. I'm not sure anybody knows or will ever know what's going on, but that Wall Street Journal article was pretty enlightening. I think it may be closer.
The submersibles down here at Panama 6.
They've got 6 of them working on this right now.
Okay. Why weren't they deployed immediately?
Well, they were. Actually, they were. There was one on the rig, but this rig has a history of fires and explosions. And the 11 people who were killed were probably the guys working on the floor at that time, putting the cement in around. And this happened so quickly. You know, there's 4 shutoffs at different places on that thing, and all you got to do is hit it and everything shuts off. This happened so quickly they could not even get to those. So, pretty dramatic event. Yes, sir.
I understand you correctly when you said, I was busy putting in the website in my phone, that there's no contingency agency to help us clean up this beach?
No, there is. And we'll be getting the details of it this week, but I suspect what we'll see with the governor issuing his state of emergency yesterday. We in Santa Rosa County issued ours yesterday at 3 o'clock, which gives us the ability to ask for help from all those agencies and to be reimbursed for it and to track. It gets us in the system. It's really a formality. When you talk about state of emergency, people kind of get a little panicky, and that's not a reason to panic. It's a procedural thing to get all the assistance we need. I suspect we'll see National Guard, and I suspect we'll be seeing volunteer groups out there, and it'll be a coordinated effort. They've done it before. Secretary Sol, I said he's a young guy like me, but I don't think he's got as much gray hair as I do. But he's been through this before in Tampa in '93. This is not their first rodeo. They know what they're going to do, and they'll have a formal plan out. I'll tell you something that was interesting as this goes on. I talked about sustaining this recovery. The call came in from Alachua County. That's not even a coastal county, it's Gainesville. But they were asking, is there going to be a plan to rotate people out in the Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee? And the same thing with our Emergency Operations Center. We're activated at a medium level right now, and Escambia is, everybody out here is. This is going to be like 04, 05 when we had all the hurricanes. And the state EOC was activated for 90 days straight. Not only are they going to be asking for people to come from these other counties to give them a relief, we're already talking, we, meaning the state of Florida, talking to people outside the state of Florida to come in and provide relief. This is going to be a very long-term effort, and people are going to, it's just going to gnaw on you. I'm telling you right now, we're okay, but you give us a couple more weeks, it's going to feel like a gnaw.
And you're going to hear a lot more about volunteers or groups looking for people that want to help with the cleanup locally. You'll see more of that coming out, and we're going to be pushing that out to the public as fast as we can. There'll be plenty of news coming. And
Tracy left me a message a little while ago. We're planning town hall type meeting here on Monday lunchtime. I don't have the details on that, but we will be blasting the press, giving folks, those of you from out of town, we wanted to get out here today where we could meet with you. But those of you here, we're trying to gear towards property managers and businesses related to the beaches, let them know what the heck's going on, even though there's a lot of unknown out there. Yes, ma'am.
Has there been any discussion about evacuating?
No. No, in fact, I had a gentleman ask me yesterday at the Regency. He was wanting us to, when the tar balls hit, he wanted us to keep people off the beach so they wouldn't track it back in the building. And we're not going to impose martial law, I can tell you. I think.
But you don't anticipate the health risk being so bad as to.
We don't know. If the health risk is that bad, we certainly will. And we'll be issuing any number of advisories on that. But to close the beaches down or deny people access is very unlikely.
Just talking about health.
Yeah, and that's okay. Back in the 80s, my wife's family's been here since 1905, and they were in Walton County in the 1840s. And the folks that have been around here for a long time, gosh, like my wife, she's talking to my 13-year-old and says, when we were kids, we had tar balls everywhere. We used to throw them at each other, and our mothers used to fuss at us because you had to take kerosene or turpentine, mineral spirits to get that stuff off of you. We're not looking forward to it, but it's not the first time we've seen it. It's just the first time in a long time, and our beaches are so precious to most of us that we just hate to see that we're going through this. And I wish I had better news for you, but it is very sobering. And as I think it was the administrator of EPA yesterday said, we are planning for the worst. We're planning for catastrophe, but we're praying for the best, and that's really where it's at today. Anybody else? I hate to run, but there's another homeowners group meeting over at Cocoa Trees, and Daniel and I are going to head over there